Alright, it is time to smoke. I like this much better. I feel great. I have a little place to sit. When I have my pause intermission, I can read a book. I think I'll run and choose a book once I do that. So let's give our cigar a little cut. There's that vegetative taste. A little less salty. A little bit of kind of dry earthiness, almost like a little dusty kind of earthiness. A little nuttiness. Ah, here we go. There we go. Vegetative, leathery. That's something that the other cigars definitely didn't have, the Juan Lopez. This has that a vegetative undertone that is very similar to the Juan Lopez, but it also has a good amount of leathery type flavor on top of that. Kind of a little right now the smoke is pretty airy. Nice bit of spice. Nice bit of spice in the back of the roof of the mouth. To me, it's floral right now. When I'm smoking, it has a nice bouquet. But I'm telling you, this cigar, if you're not smoking on it and you light this thing up, oh, I smell it. See, the aroma has two flavors. It has the bouquet. I mean, the aroma has two. The smoke. You know, there's the bouquet, which is like, you know, how do I describe it? And then there's the bouquet is what you can smell. You know, when you do this, the aroma is what you can smell, like when the smoke is just kind of drifting your way. You know, and sometimes it's hard to smell the overall aroma if you're smoking it. Like I described before, it's like, you know, if you're drinking, you know, alcohol, you can't really smell it on somebody else's breath because it's all over you. You know, so. But I am getting hints of that. It has a very vegetative, almost broccoli-ish type of smell. The smoke. I suppose it smells to other people a lot like what it tastes to me. It has this kind of vegetative, broccoli-ish undertone with a good amount of leather and spice. And some dry earthiness. The smoke right now is pretty dry, pretty airy. Getting strong leathery flavors. You know, leathery is not bitterness. You know, it has that quality, but it doesn't ruin the palate. You know, it doesn't make the tongue go like ugh. It just has like this, you know. And again, I'm sure nobody out there has chewed on a piece of leather recently, but it is a very common descriptive word used to describe a note or flavor on a cigar, and you'll know it when you taste it. You'll know it when you taste it. It's that weird. It's that simple, but it is kind of odd, like I said before, the way the palate works and the way you get into this. There's that broccoli smell. Nah. Nice. Nice. Nice cloudy smoke. Nice big clouds of smoke. Pretty airy. Alright. So we've lit up the Cabaiguan and we're puffing away. Tastes good. So far it's making a very, very light gray, whitish, almost whitish ash. It's not too tight. It's broken up a little bit. Somebody had asked me about smoking time. So at the end of the videos from now on, I'll try to put in exactly, how long I smoke the cigar for. For me, I could say right now, this is about an hour-long cigar. 45 minutes if I'm smoking heavily. I like this ring gauge. I like this cigar. This looks so much like a Vejique. It's not funny. It really, really does. The wrapper perhaps has a little bit more of a dryish look, but that's just this particular cigar. A lot of times the Cabaiguans are very, very glossy. The leaves look like they hand rubbed them to death. They look beautiful. A little more spice. Spice is nice. Spice, leather, and a vegetative undertone. Very, very nice cigar, and a great cigar. One of my favorite. I used to smoke these every morning. Every morning. It's funny, my morning cigar would switch up, but rarely. And whatever cigar I would smoke I would have my morning cigar, my afternoon cigar, after lunch cigar, and then my evening cigar before the shop closed. I would usually have 3 cigars a day, sometimes more, but usually about 3, sometimes less. Average 3. And while the afternoon and evening cigars would change randomly depending on what I felt like, the morning cigars would usually stay solid. For a long time, I smoked the Triunfador, the original Triunfador. It's Triunfador now reminds me kind of like the Cuban Trinidad, not because of flavor, but because of the way it is as a production. It was only a Lancero-shaped cigar. It only made one size. It was the same kind of size as like the Fumadore, which is the original Trinidad cigar. They only made one size, and it wasn't even really a cigar that was sold in Cuba. It was made more for diplomatic gifts and stuff like that. So Pete Johnson, and it was the same type of thing too. It was a mimic as production is concerned. Boxes of 24, or you could get the big ass thing with like 4 boxes combined, like almost 100. And eventually, I would smoke those every morning. Every morning. Nice Lancero shape, broadleaf wrap, great broadleaf wrappers. That cigar is all about the wrapper, big long broadleaf wrapper. And one day came along and he said that we got our last box and he was about to take it off the market. And everybody in the shop was like, "Oh, it's a great cigar. We smoke these all the time." And he kept making them for us. I don't know how many, I don't even know if they're still in production right now. I don't think so, because eventually he came out with an entire line called Triunfador. And, it has Robustos and all different sizes, and it's a medium-bodied smoke, but it's nothing like the original Triunfador. Totally different thing. Same kind of case with, same kind of thing happened with Cuban Trinidad. Alright, so we're burning nicely through our first third, and it's burning very nicely. We have a little bit of a slant on but that's okay. I'm just going to leave it for now. And the cigar is coming along really nice. Very intense leathery flavors, and the vegetative flavor is getting much more prominent also. It's a little sharper than it was in the beginning. The beginning didn't seem like this because it was just lit, you know, but looking at it from smoking it now, it almost seemed flatter, you know, like, well, yeah, it was much more subtle, and it's coming in pretty strong now as far as flavor goes. Yeah, and those leathery notes are actually coming around and mixing with some coffee bean type notes also. So you have a vegetative undertone with leathery notes and coffee bean, and some spice coming throughout. Very, very subtle, but it's there throughout. Hasn't disappeared yet. Very nice cigar. Reminds me of, again, I'm going to go back to it, almost how that Juan Lopez cigar was in the second half, where it started coming around to those deep coffee notes, and then all of a sudden it got really bitter. But this isn't getting bitter. It's producing some really nice leathery notes and coffee notes, and it's great. It's great. And at the same time, the smoke is still pretty airy. And at the same time, while the notes and flavor are very deep in the tongue, you know, the back of my tongue is getting those strong coffee notes and everything, you can still feel that this is a very nice, mild to medium cigar. It's not overpowering the palate, and it feels very gentle. Feels very gentle. It's not burning my nose, it's not burning my throat, it's very gentle, it's very smooth, there's no harshness to it. Very nice. Yeah, the vegetative note is very deep now. It's almost like kind of like a broccoli-ish type flavor. Yep. So that's what I have here coming into the second third. Quite nice, quite nice. The wrapper is burning and looks a lot like our D4 did before. A really nice ring of oily carbonization around the edge here of the foot. Got some oils coming out of the wrapper. Very, very good so far. So we're sitting here. I ran upstairs like I said I would. Don't mind me. Every clip you're going to see more and more stuff behind me because I'm decorating. But I ran upstairs and I got my Pearlmans. This is a must-have for any cigar aficionado, enthusiast, collector, whatever. This is a must-have. I'm a little late. This is a 2009 edition. I really need to update. You know, I like to update every 2 to 3 years because a lot of brands come out and a lot of brands go. Well, this even has brands that aren't around anymore anyway. So, and what I didn't, well, I'll bring that down next time. There's also the Havana Edition, which shows all the Cuban cigars. This is only Nicaraguan, Dominican, Honduran, those type brands. So, fantastic book to have. It doesn't get it's packed with information, okay? It doesn't get into a lot of detail on each cigar, but what it does do is you can look up, like let's say we wanted to look up Cabaiguan, we'll just go straight to C, CAO, all the different CAOs, so we'll see period Cabaiguan. And here you have your well, it's Guapos, so it's got to start here because it's actually 2 different lines. We didn't get into that. And here's how they do it. You look up the brand, and they have all the brands, and then they have every vitola in the brand with the length, ring gauge, and they'll also tell you where it's from, exactly where it's from, the wrapper, binder, filler, and then a little quip about the cigar, something interesting. But they don't give you a lot of inside information about the company or cigar or anything. They just give you a very basic, need to know, here's the cigar, here's where it's made, wrapper, binder, filler, and bang. It'll say like produced by Pete Johnson, blended by Don Pepin in the year it came out, or whatever, or if anything inspired the cigar. So one of my favorite little lookup books. You gotta get this. Actually, maybe we'll do some sort of, I want to keep this show interesting. I want comments and I want ideas of what everybody wants added to the show. I'd like to do some sort of little contest giveaway things if that's possible. I don't know how you guys want to kind of make a club or something with this. But I have a stack of these, brand new. You know, when the shop was closing down, they were just going to get thrown out, and I felt horrible about it. I was like, oh, come on, these can't, you know, I don't need 5 or 6 of them, or however many I have, I forget. But, you know, these are great. They're great books. I could give them to people who need them. So maybe we'll have some sort of little contest and have like a little Perlman's Pocket Encyclopedia giveaway. Pocket Encyclopedia of Cigars. So when you look up your Cabaiguan, you have your Cabaiguan and your Cabaiguan Guapo and your Cabaiguan Maduro. All right. Now this is interesting. This is interesting. This is where it gets a little confusing. All right. You got to bear with me here. Also coming up, we're going to do some viewer email. Got 3 or 4 emails that we could just run over, and some interesting questions and ideas. So let's leave the Maduro out. For Cabaiguan, there's 2 main things. There's Cabaiguan and there's Cabaiguan Guapo. And they are 2 different cigars. Now, in the Cabaiguan line, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shapes. You have 6 shapes, and one of them, this is where it gets confusing, one of the shapes is the Guapo. So this is what this is. This is a Cabaiguan Guapo from the Cabaiguan line. Then they have a separate line, because this cigar was so popular, called Cabaiguan Guapo. And Cabaiguan Guapo has 3 more cigars called the Guapo Jr, the 46, and the RX. They're all smaller cigars than this. The 46 is a smaller Corona, a little like a Corona Extra. The Junior is a Junior. It's like a Trinidad Reyes, if you're familiar with that, or a Partagas Short, that type of size. A short Corona, maybe. And then the RX. 46 is kind of like a Lonsdale, I guess. And then the RX, which is somewhat like a Robusto. What does it say here? I was going to say Robusto, but... yeah, RX says Robusto. And it is 5 1/4 by 50. It's a petite Corona, Grand Corona. I said short Corona and Corona Extra. So I was right about the sizes, but I'm using different terminology. So the big difference, let me read what it says here. Cabaiguan, here's another big difference. This is funny. Pete Johnson, Tatuaje, they have cigars that are made in both Esteli, Nicaragua and Miami, Florida. The original Cabaiguan line, which contains the Cabaiguan Guapo, is made in Miami, Florida. The Cabaiguan Guapo line, which is those 3 cigars we just talked about, the 46, RX, and Junior, are made in Esteli, Nicaragua. The blends really do have different flavor to them. And actually, to me, I think the blend is just about the same. The difference is the wrapper. Now, I don't know, the book, if it's accurate, I was always under the impression that the Cabaiguan line used Connecticut Shade, and the Cabaiguan Guapo line used an Ecuadorian wrapper. Now, what it says in here, under Cabaiguan, it says, introduced in 2005, this is a mild to medium body blend with a Connecticut seed wrapper, offered in boxes of 24. And under the wrapper binder filler section, it says wrapper Ecuador. So it's giving me the impression that it's a Connecticut seed wrapper grown in Ecuador, but it's made in Miami, Florida. Wouldn't it make more sense if it was actual Connecticut Shade from Connecticut? So I don't know about that. And then when it says Cabaiguan Guapo, the Guapos was added in 2007 to the Cabaiguan line, this cigar. But a separate mild to medium bodied Guapo line was introduced in 2008. 46 and RX available in box of 20 and the Junior in 40. But it doesn't say anything about any kind of changes in blend. It just says wrapper Ecuador, binder Nicaragua, filler Nicaragua.